Welcome to the Gaining Traction on Mars test vehicle instructions. You'll need the following materials: 4 Dagu geared motors, 1 3D printed vehicle chassis, 4 3D printed vehicle wheels, 1 piece of cardstock, 1 9-volt battery, 1 9-volt battery connector, 1 wire stripper, 1 roll of 22 gauge wire, scissors and electrical tape, 3 rubber bands, 2 blue caps, and 2 white spacers. You'll need electrical tape and scissors. Cut approximately half of the tape horizontally. The tape will need to fit through the white part of the motor. The tape should be around 3 inches in length. Next, we need to tape the sides of the motor. Using the tape should run underneath the white part of the motor so that there's no silver metal exposed underneath. Cut and add more tape if needed, and repeat this step for all 4 motors. For this step, you'll need scissors, wire strippers, and a 22 gauge wire roll. Using the scissors, cut the wires into approximately 6 inches of length. Then separate the black and red wires from each other. Using the wire strippers, squeeze the pliers together and pull towards the end of the wire so that the metal is exposed. For this step, you'll first need to twist the metal ends of the wire till it forms a thin, straight line. Then, you can thread the wires through the copper connectors on the motors. The red wire will go on the left connector, and the black wire will go through the right connector. Using the tape and scissors, tape all around the motor to secure the wire connection. Make sure the wires are straight when you tape all around the motor. Repeat this for all 4 motors. For this step, you'll need 2 motors. You'll need to wrap the red wires of one motor onto the black wires of the other motor. Braid the wires by twisting the middle ends with each other, and repeat this for the other set of motors. In order to see if our wire connections are successful, we'll want to use the battery connector and battery. Connect the battery wires with the motor wires as shown. For this step, the battery wire is free to connect to either end of the motors. Connect the battery to the end of the battery connector and ensure that the motors are powered and spinning. If both sets of the motors are functional, remove the battery wires and place the motors within the 3D printed chassis as shown. For this step, we'll need to identify the top and bottom motors and the top and bottom wires for our vehicle. You'll first need to wire the top wires of the top motors to the bottom wires of the bottom motors. Then, you'll need to wire the bottom wires of the top motors to the top wires of the bottom motors. In order to ensure our wire connections were successful, we'll need to test for it again. Using the battery connector and battery, connect the battery connector and battery together and temporarily touch the ends of the battery wire to the ends of the motors. The motors should be powered and spinning. If the wire connection was successful, thread the battery wire through the second hole on the top of the other side of the vehicle chassis as shown. Now we need to connect the battery wire to the motor wires of our vehicle. The black battery wire should connect to the top wires of the top motor, and the red wire should connect to the bottom wires of the bottom motor. If needed, attach the battery to the wire connector to test for power connections, as shown in the previous steps. For this step, you'll need the blue wire caps. Add the blue wire caps onto the wire ends by wrapping them onto the wires and twisting in the clockwise direction until the ends tighten. Next, grab the white spacers and tuck it in between the middle of the motors. You can do this by lifting both motors and putting the spacer in the middle. Then gently press the two motors down alongside the white spacer. Next, we'll need to attach our wheels to the vehicle. With the flat face of the wheel facing the vehicle, firmly press the white part of the motor inside the opening of the wheel. The hollow part of the wheel should be facing the outside of the vehicle. Next, we'll need to add cardstock to cover our vehicle. Using the rubber bands, wrap the rubber bands around the cardstock and towards the end of the vehicle with the motors. This will ensure that the chassis will not be warped and damaged by the rubber bands. We will need to add an additional rubber band perpendicular of the other rubber bands. Finally, we can attach the battery by using the rubber band we added and connecting the battery wire to the battery. The test vehicle should be powered and ready.